What's going on, everybody? We will be getting started really shortly. Make sure to hit the like button on your way in. I had my mic muted, that's why y'all couldn't hear anything. But I can see what y'all write in the chat. Don't worry, there's nothing wrong with the volume. There's nothing going on YouTube's end. I just had my mic muted because I didn't want y'all to hear like any background noise. I'm just currently sharing the link on my various social media platforms. All right, I have shared everything with my various platforms so I can now communicate with you. What's going on, everybody in the chat? Like I said, make sure y'all hit the like button upon entry. All right, appreciate the PayPal donation, Precious. All right, as you can see, there are three different faces right here on your screen. and we're gonna cover all three of them. What's going on, Shar? And we're gonna cover all three of these today. I have not talked about these three topics. I have, of course, talked about Trump. I am going to do a video about Trump, but it's not going to be about what I talk about involving him today. I haven't talked about the other two either, but I will be addressing those today, and I will be opening up the phone lines because I know some of you are going to have some opinions about this. I can tell just by the way y'all just rolled up in here. But I'm going to get through it, and then I'll open up the phone, and then whoever wants to call in can call in. And remember, but I'm going to set it as a reminder as well. If you call on my phone and from an unknown number, I'm not answering it. Because every time somebody calls from an unknown number, it's always a troll. Always a troll. But Quasi, you're not late. We just getting started. Oh, Jerry, I know that those numbers are probably spam trolls because I had a person call from an unknown number before, and well, two times, and they were both the same person. And I was talking about a certain topic, and the person they started talking, and I can tell it was a palm colored individual just on their tone alone. It sounded like an older white guy. It sounded like he came straight out of Jim Crow. But before I get started, are y'all ready to see Hangouts go away soon? The last day for it, I believe, is on the 31st because I think it's going away on the 1st. That's why I had to do my best to learn Streamlabs. And the thing is, I don't even think I've learned every function, but I've learned the basics. What's going on, Stephanie M? I actually talked about that on a couple live streams ago. Because if you didn't know, Hangouts was a stem, well, not a stem, but an extension of Google Plus. And Google Plus has been gone. They kind of like went away silently, but they are making it loud that Hangouts is about to go away. So now we about to see who was going to separate the men from the boys, or the girls from the women. All right, let's just go ahead and get started because I don't want to keep y'all here all day. Let's start off with Cynthia Erivo. For those of you who do not know who Cynthia Erivo is, she is an actress. She is a British-born actress. She comes from a long line of British-born actors and actresses, and she's done a few movies. I know she did this movie with Viola Davis last year. What was the name of that movie? I forgot the name of the movie. I didn't even watch it. That's how much it was so forgettable to me. And then she did another movie as well that came out before that. I think it was something about a hotel. Widows, right? Thank you. It was called Widows, and she did one about the hotel or something like that. It came out like the month before it. But anyway, so she has been cast. Well, she's already been cast because the movie's already complete. But she's in this movie about Harriet Tubman, and the movie ironically is called Harriet. And when I learned about this, I said, "Oh, okay. I guess she got the part." And one of the things I had said was, I'm finding that it's a lot of British-born actors that are getting roles to play iconic American individuals, and it's like they're constantly passing up people who were born here to actually play these parts, who are qualified as well to play these roles. But it's some things that Cynthia has said that has rubbed many people the wrong way, mainly towards ADOS. Now, I don't know if Cynthia was aware of this or not before she took the role, but Harriet Tubman was an American born woman. She was born here in the States, although she was a slave when she was born here. And she made these disparaging remarks about our ancestor, and now she's playing her in a movie. She disrespected her descendants and then turns right around and takes the role of the person whose descendants she disrespected. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this right now because nobody knows this. I didn't tell anybody about this. But I was actually offered to actually do some background work for this movie. True story. I'm not even lying. I got emails from the people in the casting department to actually do background work or maybe even have a featured part in this movie when they were filming it last year. They filmed this movie in Richmond, Virginia. But one major reason as an extra, like, I don't know how much screen time I would have got, but you probably would have saw me. But the reason I didn't take it is because one, it was in Richmond, Virginia, even though from me to Richmond is like a 3 hour drive. But it's because of her. It's like I would want to do this movie, but it's like I would be standing, like I would possibly have to interact with someone who said something like that. And what's even more sad about the whole situation is another thing I found out a couple days ago is the company that actually put this movie together, to my knowledge, is black owned. Not the studio that's releasing it, but the actual company. You know what I mean? Like the company within the company that's doing this is actually, I believe, to be black owned. It's sort of like what with Birth of a Nation, how it was completely funded by Nate Parker and other outside entities that was not connected to Hollywood, but it was shot to Fox Searchlight and released by them, for that push. Sort of like that. What's going on, Albert? But she made some disparaging remarks about ADOS. If I can find a production company, Julius, I'll let you know what it is. She made some remarks about ADOS, and then she takes this part. And it's like, it makes everybody look at her side eye. But then you have some people are trying to come and lie about why a lot of ADOS are outraged. They will say that we are mad and upset about this because she's a British-born actress playing Harriet Tubman. For some, that's a small reason as to why, compared to the real main reason why, and that's because she basically said these comments or made these comments about ADOS people, and then turns right around and plays an iconic ADOS individual. And then when you look at some of the still images of her, in the movie or from the trailer, and to be honest, I didn't even look at the trailer. When you look at the trailer, it almost look like she's scared. Harriet Tubman was not a scared woman. That was a woman that was determined to complete her mission by any means necessary, before by any means necessary was even a quote. Now, we don't have issue with, for the most part, a few British-born actors playing parts in, in American cinema. I mean, you had, of course, we all know Idris Elba, who is like a fan favorite to many people. You have Daniel Kaluuya, who played in Get Out. But see, the difference here is that Idris Elba and Daniel Kaluuya are not playing. We're not playing. I guess you could say American-born citizens. They were playing characters that were created. However, I did hear that Daniel was selected to play Fred Hampton, and I did have some words about that when that ended up coming about. So I don't know. I'm still kind of up in the air about that, but you know how that is. It's almost like they are getting them for cheap. And then you always keep hearing them say that when it comes to British-born actors, that they're classically trained, they're better to work with, and all types of stuff like that. But then you look at people like Denzel Washington, who did a phenomenal job as Malcolm X. And it's like there's not enough training in the world that could describe how phenomenal that performance was. Jerry, ADOS stands for American Descendants of Slaves. Rita said, and my thing is, I thought black people was tired of slave movies. That was the hype recently. You're right. I think a lot of people are tired of slave movies where it shows the same narrative where they are being subservient and they're not fighting back or being rebellious. And I was listening to a live stream that Tariq had did recently talking about this, and he was saying that this movie really isn't for black people. This movie is more so for palm colored. Like it's something soothing for them. Renee Davis said, Daniel Oyelowo was Nigerian British and he played MLK, and Selma Carmen Jogo is also black British and played Coretta Scott King. Oh, you're right. You're right about that. And then it's like if we actually say something about it, then they'll say stop complaining. At least you're getting representation. No, they are getting representation. Now I will say this: when they finally bring Storm, the right Storm that is, into the fold, I wouldn't mind if she was an African-born actress or, something like that, because that's her heritage. I would just prefer her to be the right look for once. Ashley, like I said, it has nothing to do with her being British and Nigerian. It has nothing to do with that. It has something to do with her comments. And I'm gonna actually read this article so it can go into why people are upset with her. I'm gonna read the article. I have the article in front of me. Actually, Storm was not from America. She was actually born in, I want to say East Africa. I'm not sure exactly what country, but then her character ended up coming to the States as a little girl where she lived with her parents in New York. And then after an accident in which her parents were killed, she went back to Africa. Of course, we know what happened after that. Hence the African accent. Okay, you see, he was born in Egypt. Kenya. Okay, so is it Kenya or is it Kenya or Egypt? Okay, she was born. Okay, they say she was born in Egypt. We just know she's from the continent. Let's just put it that way. She's from the continent. Because I know one of her parents is from the continent and the other one is from America. But let me go ahead and read this article. It says British actress Cynthia Erivo faces Harriet backlash due to past tweets mocking black Americans. Earlier this week, the first trailer was released for Harriet, the upcoming movie about abolitionist Harriet Tubman, starring Cynthia Erivo, leaving many anticipating the release of the film. But shortly thereafter, critics questioned if it was wise to hire a British actress to play such a monumental figure in African American history. According to MovieWeb, the controversy is not new and initially started in September 2018 when producers first announced the decision to cast Erivo. But now that the teaser for the film has gotten audiences buzzing, that debate has been reinvigorated. Naysayers believe that since Tubman was born into slavery in America and was an abolitionist who fought to free others from that very American specific plight, it would have been more culturally sensitive to choose an American descendant of slaves to play her rather than someone from England. Hashtag Cynthia Erivo should have never been given the role of Harriet Tubman, one Twitter user wrote. She disrespected ADOS lineage, culture, history, American history. Disgusting someone who hates us gets to play us. The acronym ADOS used in many of these posts stands for American Descendants of Slavery, which, according to ADOS 101, the hashtag seeks to reclaim or restore the critical national character of the African American identity and experience, one grounded in our group's unique lineage, and which is central to our continuing struggle for social and economic justice in the United States. Erivo has also been accused of mocking African American culture in tweets, inciting further criticism against her. In the post, Erivo seemingly mocks black English, drawing the ire of some who feel that she was out of place to do so, and given the sentiment that she should not play such an important figure in black history. Detailed screenshots of her tweets have been compiled to illustrate this. In the thread, it shows different instances that argue that she is guilty of disrespect of black Americans. Twitter user who uses the handle @EboPete was in the thread about their disdain for Erivo being chosen for the role. While there aren't many smoking guns, when you step back, there's a bigger picture that forms a constellation of disrespect and insensitivity that doesn't instill confidence but instead fosters serious doubt. Now I'm gonna pull up. Well, you can't see it, but I'm looking at it on my phone of some of the tweets that she's made, because someone has compiled a bunch of them. Like, I'm not gonna read all of them, but just some of them. Like, this person really dug deep to find some of the stuff that she said. Let's see here. If I can find them, it's so many. Like, the way that they posted them up is kind of all over the place. Okay, one of them, she's responding to this guy by the name of Joel Montague back in 2013, where she said at Joel Montague, and then in parentheses she says ghetto American accent, baby, you know I got you, I'ma sing it to you, but I still gotta do what I gotta do. If you see how she wrote this, it looks very tacky. Let's see here. I'm trying to like make sense of. I can't make a lick of sense of what she said. Bear with me, y'all. I'm trying to like how this person compiled these tweets together is like kind of weird. But even if I don't find what I'm really looking for, y'all already seen the tweets that she has posted before in the past. But trust and believe it has nothing to do with her being British born. That's the scapegoat that they're trying to use, or what she's trying to use to try to get out of it. Either way, basically, Cynthia just made like just crazy remarks regarding ADOS. I don't know if she tried to like maybe scrub her account of the tweets that she's made, because it's like I'm having trouble trying to actually find them. I can't really find all the tweets that I was looking for, but just know that she put some stuff out there. Trust and believe. Like she probably, like someone, like I said, she probably tried to clean up her Twitter when people found it, and that's why it's hard to find. But people aren't making all this stuff up in their heads though. It's like we know what we saw. I would have preferred that they use an American actress to play her, but like I said, that'll be one movie that you will not have to worry about me having to review. So don't even bother looking for it. Brian Henderson said Lisa Rivera said that she scrubbed her account. Okay, so I knew I wasn't tripping. That's why I was having a hard time trying to find the tweets that she posted, because she scrubbed her account before people could probably get a hold of it. And it's such a shame too, because you know this is a movie that if it was done right, I would have watched it, because you've always heard stories about Harriet Tubman. Most of them were inaccurate, but they can have it. As far as I'm concerned, they can have it. What's going on, Nas? Hey, listen. I went to Google trying to look up her tweets and everything, and I really couldn't find anything like nothing that she has said. But we know that she did, because her team and herself scrubbed her accounts when people found out about what she said. And see, now what they are doing is, because they scrubbed her account, she can hide behind, oh, they're only saying this because I'm a British born Nigerian actress. So make it seem like we're just coming at her because she's not ADOS playing playing an American figure. Yes, Calvin White, she was in Widows. It's just amazing how she could say something like that about a group of people and then turn right around and play that exact part. Amazing. Amazing. But let me go. Sorry, I'm getting these notifications. But let me go ahead and move on to the next topic. I've already talked about Cynthia enough. And like I said, for those of you who are new in the chat, I will be opening up the phone lines at the end of the last topic that I discussed. And then we can chop it up then if you do feel like calling in. And we'll discuss it from there. But let me move on to the next person. And that is your president, in the voice of Willie D, 45. But before I discuss 45, I need to address two other people. Their pictures are not on the screen because it didn't come to me that I was going to talk about them until maybe about an hour ago, after all of this was set up. And the first person I would like to address, and they're both connected to 45 in a way. The first person I would like to address is Elijah Cummings. Now, this guy is supposed to be involved over Baltimore, the city of Baltimore. Why in the world is he all up in them illegal immigrants' affairs, making all that noise down at the border? Why? He literally hops, leaps, skip, cartwheel, backflip, break dance, break his neck and his ankles and his hip to go down there and make all that noise at the border. But when it comes to when Trump says something about Baltimore, now you have an issue. Why weren't you talking about Baltimore before this? Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna go in on Trump as well, but I have to address him and somebody else. You said Elijah Coonings. Got all that mouth for them people down at the border, for them illegal immigrants that are here to replace us. But when you need to take care of home base, you're nowhere to be found. But it took for Trump to say something about Baltimore being infested for you to make a move, for you to bust a move and make noise about what needed to be addressed. It was a line in the song in a song by Nas back in the early 2000s called World. He says, how can you fix others when you ain't fixed home yet? That was in relation to Bush, but I'm related to Elijah Cummings. How are you going to try to fix someone else's situation and you ain't fixed your home yet? And I always get Elijah Cummings mixed up with what's his face, the one that always likes to talk about him getting jumped on the bridge. What's his name? The one that always looks like he looks like a sad potato. John Lewis, thank you, John Lewis. Don't they look alike? I always get them mixed up. They always get them mixed up because they look so much alike. And they both coon hard as I don't know what. Now that I've addressed that person, let me address the other person. Victor Blackwell. Are you crazy? Are you insane? To get up on your platform on CNN and try to force tears out of your eyes like you were trying to campaign to win an Emmy, a Golden Globe, and an Academy Award. Those tears, or so-called tears, were not real. I don't even think I seen a tear drop out of his eye. Crying about a word that Trump said about an infestation. Do you realize what you just did? And it's not like you cried over somebody dying or losing a loved one. You cried over a word. This is why they said you need to know your open enemy. And apparently Victor Blackwell doesn't know his enemy very well. This is not the first time Trump has said something like this. It will not be the last time Trump says something like this. And it is even the worst thing Trump has ever said. He has said and done way worse. Yes, I understand that you are from Baltimore and you're going to hold your city down. You could have said all you want to say in a more stern tone, and we would have accepted that. But the minute you got emotional and started trying to cry, not cry, but try to cry. That's why we had to look at you like you were a joke. Shout out to True Oil Family because she went in on him and on her commentary. What was it, this morning? I watched it this morning. Like, that's not a good look whatsoever. At all. And if you should have to cry about something like that, you do it in private. You do it after you leave the set, or before you come on the set. I prefer you to do it after, because we'll know. Because if you come on before, we'll know something's going on. We can be like, does he got allergies? Is he sick? Pomodoro Johnson 23. Her name is the True Royal Family. Yeah. Oh, August. You're right. Van Jones, another one. Remember when he was crying a couple months, was it last year? Again over Trump in some words. Like I said, Trump has done and said way worse than what you cry over, and you did it for the world to see. I think that was the more shameful thing about the whole thing. This isn't me saying that black men aren't allowed to have emotions, because it's a human trait. It's just that there is a time and a place for everything. That was not the time, nor was it the place for that. I don't know if they are aware of that. Maybe they are, maybe they are not. But I think that Victor Blackwell was probably putting on an act. For who he was performing for, I don't know. It wasn't a performance for me. You said Angela Rye as well? Well, she stays on the emotional train wreck side of the game. That woman knows how to run through every emotion in literally an hour. She can be happy 1 minute, then sad the next, then angry the next. What's up, BJ? But yeah, all that so-called crying on TV like that because he said infested. That would not have made me get up at my job if I was on TV and cry. I would not have done that. But that's just me. If I wanted to address Trump for what he said, I would have addressed him in the tone that I'm using right now, that you're hearing right now, with some sternness in my voice. And like I said, that's not the worst thing he's ever said. That's not the worst he's ever done. So as far as I'm concerned, save your tears for something that's actually worth crying over. Now that I've got those two out of the way, now let's address this subject matter at hand, and that is 45. So he said that Baltimore is an infestation. To many on the outside, or even some on the inside, many would agree and say that Baltimore does have some bad elements to it. But what city doesn't? Some more than others. But you want to know what's very interesting is there's one county in particular in rural America that 45 will never ever talk about. His supporters will never ever touch it. Can anyone in the chat let me know what that county is? And I've talked about it on my channel a lot of times. Reve, you got the state right, but what's the county? It's in Kentucky. Y'all who's saying Kentucky, the whoever said Kentucky, y'all have the state right. Okay, thank you. Courtney got it right. Courtney X got it right. Owsley County, Kentucky. Owsley County, Kentucky is the welfare capital of the establishment. It is literally the poorest place in the U.S. If you do not believe me, go onto Google right now. Go to the images and type in Owsley County, Kentucky. I remember on my original channel, I did a whole video talking about Owsley County, Kentucky. It is literally one of the poorest, actually not one of, it is the poorest place in America. It makes Section 8 look like the suburbs. That's how bad it is out there. And the reason why I talk about them like that, and it brings me great joy to always have to give them a little bit of a spotlight when topics like this come up, because I know a certain sector will not touch on it, is because they are known to constantly vote against their own interests. This is a county that has literally been in the dumps since Jim Crow, probably before then. That's how long they've been in a rut. And they prefer it to be that way. I'm talking about, these are some chain smoking, tobacco spitting, four wheels in a canteen. Probably got 4 teeth. 4 of them are black. 3 of them are black and 1 of them yellow. Incest. Like, I would prefer a natural disaster sweep through that town and maybe they can rebuild. That's how horrible it is out there. But they vote against their own interests, and they literally are a county that has not evolved into the 21st century. They are still stuck, literally stuck in the last century. And I'm talking about way into the last century. So for anybody, Trump included, to say that Baltimore is an infestation, rodent infested, rat infested, or whatever he said, they need to look closely at Kentucky. Preferably Owsley County. I will never let that one down. I don't, and the thing is, to this day, I can't even remember how I found out about Owsley County, Kentucky. I don't know if I just happened to come across it or if somebody told me about it, but I'm glad I know about it because I can always hold that over their head. But it is literally a landfill out there. It looks like if they have a trash person come to collect their trash, they probably only come once a month instead of twice a week. I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of the most drug infested. But I would not set foot in Owsley County. As a matter of fact, if I had to fly over, I would probably be that petty one and be like, tap the captain, like, look, I know we flying over Kentucky, but can you just bypass having to fly over Owsley County and maybe we can fly over the next county over? That's how tainted and just filthy that place is. I wouldn't want to be caught dead out there. Now, like I said, every county and every city has its issues. Now, the reason why Trump said anything about Baltimore was because Elijah Cummings was saying something to that guy. I forgot what that guy's name was. I think they was in Congress, and he said something to him, and that's what prompted Trump to get on his Twitter and say what he said about Baltimore. I've been to Baltimore. I have family in Baltimore. I have people that I went to school with who live in Baltimore. Yes, Baltimore has its bad parts. It has its hoods. Anybody who's watched The Wire knows that, but Even if, but the wire even scraped the surface just a little bit. But trust, it's far from the worst. And you got to know that when Trump says stuff like this, a lot of the time he's doing this for shock value. He wants to get people riled up. He wants to get an arousal out of people. That's why Victor Blackwell went off the way that he did, or started crying, well, or trying to cry the way that he did. He doesn't know. He doesn't know how to combat something like that, and it showed. Like, he literally showed it. After all, 45 is nothing more than an entertainer. He's been put here to entertain. Meanwhile, while they're getting riled up over a word that Trump said, he just got, and I'm going to do a video about it, but I'll talk about it right here. Meanwhile, Trump's border wall just got approved. Yes, in case y'all did not know, the Supreme Court has approved a $2.5 billion budget for Trump's wall, his border wall. Him and his supporters got their wish. And you know what that means? By them approving his wall, he just locked in his re-election. The Democrats are done. He made good on his campaign promise. So the Democrats that are running for office right now, this is just a dog and pony show for them at this moment. Because his supporters are going to run out and vote in droves come November of next year. Just on that alone. Yeah, Julius, like I said, his border wall got approved. I've known about this for a couple days now. Interesting point, Stephanie. She said, if you notice, it was approved after cutting 3.1 million families off food stamps. And for those of you who didn't know, I did a video about that. But yep, his border wall got approved. It's going to be real spooky next year come 2020. Real spooky. And of all the people that's still running in that Democrat race, Cory Booker, just bow out now. Just leave. We are tired of seeing your face. That man is so low in the polls, they barely talk about him anymore. Blake Bill, you said white folks won't be able to eat, but at least they got their wall. Because, you know, for them, it's always their bottom line before anything, you know, of substance. You know, palm color, they'd rather be racist than actually earn a living. They would rather get fired than have to, you know, well, you know. All right, well, let me move on to my last topic before I open the phone lines. Again, for those of you who have come late, I will be opening the line. If anybody wants to call in to discuss any one of these topics, and only these topics, I will not be answering any unknown numbers, so I better see an area code. So the last topic I will be discussing is one that many of you have been wanting me to talk about for a while now. and that is ASAP Rocky. Oh, I have seen a lot of videos concerning ASAP Rocky from a lot of people over the course of maybe the last 2 weeks. And let me tell you, I have to pretty much agree with what the majority of people have been saying. So to give a little summary, because there's a lot to this story, ASAP Rocky was over. Well, I'm saying was, like he's not over there no more. Is over in Sweden. But when he went over to Sweden for an event, there was one of the locals there who was, I guess you can say, harassing him and his crew. And then he got involved with an altercation. Well, his bodyguard got involved in an altercation with the local there, in which they pretty much whooped the local's ass. And, he got into the fight and all types of stuff like that. One thing you have to realize is that whatever happens in these foreign establishments, these foreign countries, does not fly over here in the, I'm sorry, let me scratch that back. What happens over here in the States does not fly over in other establishments. Think about what happened with Otto Warmbier. If he did what he did over in Korea, here in the States, he would have got a slap on the wrist. But because he felt he had balls of steel, he wanted to go mess with that banner that had Korean dignitaries on it, and one of them happens to be their current dictator, Kim Jong-un. And then he was sentenced to harsh labor for 17 months. Didn't even last 3 before he ended up into a coma and brought back to the States, where he later died. But let's bring it back to ASAP Rocky, because apparently he doesn't know who Otto Warmbier is. Had he known, he probably wouldn't gone up there and did what he did. Hell, even Snoop, I think, got banned from a country over there, and I think it was because he was carrying weed, and he's not allowed back over in that country. But anyway, so he got arrested over there, and he's currently over there and has been there for like the last 2 weeks, probably longer. I can't remember when the actual event itself it happened. And you have a lot of people that's trying to get him out. They even reached out to 45 as a last resort, probably much against much of their dismay, to try to get him out. And then you have 45 up there talking about ASAP Rocky, and you can just look at him and tell he's never heard of this guy. He said he talked to his friend Kanye West, and you can tell he still didn't know who ASAP Rocky was. In case y'all didn't know, Sweden does not like Trump. They have alluded to as such. And the reason why they're not going to allow ASAP Rocky to come back over here right now is out of fear that if he leaves that establishment, he will not go back if he has to have a trial date, which most likely is going to happen. So they don't want him to be a flight risk. So he's going to have to stay there until they get all of that situated. So he's still over there right now, and to my knowledge, people was telling me that the prisons over in Sweden are actually kind of nice, from what I heard. They're not like how the prisons are set up here. Now, I had saw somebody had left a comment when they were talking about the rapper G-Eazy. For those of you who don't know, G-Eazy is a palm-colored rapper. And I think he actually got into some trouble over there in Sweden. And I think it was for weed or something like that, but they didn't hold him and they let him come back. Even he came back and said that the reason they're holding ASAP Rocky over there is because he's black. Because he said that I got in trouble over there for some weed and they didn't hold me. Now, ASAP Rocky, and the reason I don't feel anything for him is because of the comments that he has made over the years, mainly the ones about Mike Brown and Ferguson. Oh, you said it was I misspoke. They said it was cocaine, not weed. ASAP Rocky has made some comments over the years, especially about Ferguson. Oh, you said he pleaded guilty, and he said ASAP says his case is about race. Interesting, he says it's about race. It is very interesting that ASAP Rocky now claims that his case is about race, because he's the same one that is on that train of races and everything and all that crap. He was the same one that said that he can't relate. If y'all been seeing people talking about I can't relate as it pertains to ASAP Rocky, it's because of those comments that he made. I'm going to read to you the comments that he made back in 2015. Oh, you said that G-Eazy, he beat up a security guard and possessed hard drugs. Well, there you go. He says, why? Because I'm black? So every time something happens because I'm black, I gotta stand up? Why the fuck am I? He says, what the fuck am I now? Al Sharpton? I'm ASAP Rocky. I did not sign up to be no political activist. Well, no one asked you to be a political activist, nor did anyone tell you to stand up. You just threw yourself out there. I think they asked him what is his take on what happened in Ferguson, and that was his response. That was the first thing that he said. He could have said anything on that. He could have even said no comment. But that was his first response. He also says, I don't want to talk about no fucking Ferguson and shit because I don't live over there. I live in fucking Soho and Beverly Hills. I can't relate. I'm in the studio. I'm in these fashion studios. I'm in these bitches' drawers. I'm not doing anything outside of that. That is my life. Those are his comments. So to anybody out there that wants to know why people like myself, those in this chat, or a lot of other people who have made commentaries concerning him feel the way that they do, I just read to you why they feel that way. And he went on to say, well, he tried to clarify his comments after people pretty much got into him. He said, I just get upset, and what I was really trying to say there was, yo, I just hate when the bandwagon stuff starts. He told the Breakfast Club host Angela Yee, DJ Envy, and Charlemagne the God. I mean, how come you know black lives only matter when a police take them, when a police officer takes it? Notice how he said that. I don't know if y'all caught that. How come you know black lives only matter when a police take them, when a police officer takes it? He just referred to black people as it. I don't know if any of you caught that. And he says, it should be like black lives. It should matter when a black life take it. Listen, I'm telling y'all, this is not me reading the way I'm reading it as his quote is written. This guy does not know how to speak. He said, you know what I mean? It should always matter. And here it is, y'all. All lives matter. So because he lives in Beverly Hills, California, in Soho, New York, which is like the two nicest places in those respective regions, he cannot relate to the plight of us. Well, that's okay, ASAP Rocky. That is fine that you can't relate to us and all of that jazz and whatnot. Because guess what? Because we can't relate either. I think that's the first time I ever had to cue the violins on somebody on a live stream. And I feel pretty good about it. I hope y'all enjoyed that. I had to do my best not to laugh at the chat because y'all was going in y'all was going in the minute that I had played my theme song. All right, now that I have covered all of the topics, I'm going to drop the number into the chat And if you feel like you want to get something off of your chest concerning the topics that I spoke about, and only the topics I talked about, feel free to call in. The number is right there. I have 259 people in here, so I know the phone should be buzzing. And like I said, call from an area code. Unknown numbers will not be answered. All right, I have a 708 area code. Who am I speaking with?
What's up, Torian? Free, aka Lucky Lloyd from Chicago.
What's going on?
Everything good, getting better.
That's good.
But you hit on a bunch of good topics, so I got to think which one I want to talk about.
Okay, you
But
can.
the
It
one that
doesn't
really
matter. You can
stood out,
talk about one of them, or a couple of them, or all of them if you want.
okay, the one that really stood out to me the most was about the chick playing Harriet. I actually forgot her name, but it kind of don't even matter what her name is because I'm not watching it anyway.
Right.
But we've been saying for years that like black people need their own Hollywood, but it's a problem with that. Most of them in Hollywood are coons.
You right
So
about that.
they would feel very uncomfortable when they look to their right and their left and Team Saltine not around. So it's like that's not gonna really work. So I think bro black people need to figure out just push independent films on their own.
Right.
It's not gonna be the glamour, to get the glitz, the money, but you could build and
And see, we had the chance to do that.
generation.
We had the chance to do that with Birth of a Nation. That was the test right there. That was the ultimate
Yeah,
test right there, and with that, it was an ultimate fail. I still went and saw the
well,
movie. I went and saw the movie the day it came out, and I enjoyed it.
yeah. I didn't see it that it came out, but I did watch it twice. I loved it, but
Yeah, we
then
know what
the
we know
guy
what
that
happened. We know
made
what happened with that.
yeah, he's kind of a coon too. That brother that made it, he said and done some funny style stuff. So it's like I don't know. I want to make it happen. Tyler Perry is talking about making it happen, but he run around with dresses. So I mean, how is it going? It's gonna take a while. Ain't nothing gonna happen in a few months or a few years.
Right.
Yeah, so I'll be trying to come with solutions and everything because I'll be wanting to support some of these movies because I'm a movie buff. But every time you look up and you find out these people's background, especially with social media, you find out all these brothers and sisters is coons and bedwenches. You like, God damn, I can't even support a movie no more.
Right.
So yeah, I just want to just hit on that for a minute. I ain't gonna try to line up too long.
Okay. Well, it's good talking to you.
All right, same here. I'll let you later.
All right. All right. Keep calling in if you haven't. If you can't get in, because I know somebody had called me right when I was on the phone with that individual. Yeah, but like I said, Birth of a Nation was the test for us to see if we could have our own, like, films that are made by us that could actually make it to mainstream. And because of what happened, unfortunately, that the results of that was pretty, well, unfortunate. All right, we got a 678. Who am I speaking with?
What's up, Torian, man? This is MCO. What's poppin'?
Oh, what's going on?
Not much.
You kind of low.
You see, I sound low.
Yeah, because I actually have your my phone up to the mic so people can hear you more clearly, but even I can barely hear you.
You hear me better now?
Hold on. Can people in the chat? Can y'all hear them? Yeah, people saying that they can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, like people in the chat are saying that you're low.
Okay. All right, let me talk back.
All right.
All right.
All right, we got a 404 area code. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, what's going on, Tori? This is Sean again from Atlanta, Georgia.
What's going on?
Nothing much, man. I just been chillaxing, listen to the topics you were talking about on your live stream today. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, I was listening to the guy from Chi-Town talking about the whole Cynthia Real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was on the trailer too of Harry Tubman. At first, I was thinking that this looks interesting, but at the same time, I was thinking like the way that they were portraying Harry Tubman, her eyes bucking and stuff like that. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, like that image right there. It's like Harriet wasn't a person. Like, I had saw a picture. It was a side by side picture of Harriet Tubman and Cynthia Erivo playing her, and it's like two different looks. Like Harriet Tubman had that look, like she had that look of a killer in her eyes. Cynthia looked like she was running from a killer.
Hey, right. Mm-hmm.
Like she looked
Yeah,
like
if you look back at
she looked
those
yeah
for her,
she looked like one of the she looked like one of the slaves that wanted to turn back that Harriet had to shoot.
exactly. Exactly. That's how she was to me in that trailer and stuff like that. I'm like, she was not a scared person.
Yeah,
She
I didn't
was
even
a
watch the
writer.
trailer. I didn't even watch the trailer because it's like, for what? I have no vested interest in this movie.
Me neither. I don't have interest in either. After what I saw, I was like, no, I'm good.
Right.
And because after seeing the stuff she was saying, thanks to Zaree,
Mhm.
showing the Twitter, her Twitter page and stuff she's been saying about AUS and everything,
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm not gonna support her.
Right, and
And
then turn right around and take that part. So
yeah. And I knew they were gonna have her play that part. I mean, it doesn't make any sense though because you could have guessed any Black American actress for that role. Though. I mean, you probably didn't see what I said on the chat.
Mhm.
They could have got that actress from Underground to play Harry Tubman.
Right, you're right about that.
Yeah.
It's funny you say Underground. That was a good show. Underground
It
was
was.
a
It
very
definitely
good
was,
show.
man.
For those of you who are in the chat, if y'all never watched Underground, make sure y'all go watch it. Unfortunately, it only lasted 2 seasons because WGN got bought out by Sinclair, and then they ended up scrapping the show. Because I was looking forward to the third season. Because Harriet Tubman's character got introduced at the end of the first season. You didn't see her; you just kind of saw her shadow, and then she was introduced as a full blown character in the second season.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she's a real life person, not a character, but I get what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, that actress played the hell out of her though, and she's a real good actress herself. She was in like 911 movie on Fox
Mhm.
with Andrew Best, and she also was in the Godzilla film.
Right.
So, yeah, they could have casted her. Could have casted Kimberly Elise, Viola Davis. I know we had our issues with Viola Davis.
Yeah, I got my issues with her too. And ironically, Cynthia Erivo was in that movie Widows with her, where Viola Davis was being a bed wench, and she was talking about how. What did she say about Liam Neeson? Something about him being a good kisser or something like that. I said if I were her husband, if I was her husband, I would smack her.
Yeah, that really gave me a side on her though. I'm like really on low. That's ridiculous. But yeah, the whole thing with them having black foreign actors, play famous black people, that's starting to become like a real trope in Hollywood nowadays. It's starting to get ridiculous. I mean, I don't have an issue with them, playing these roles, but it should be roles for Black Americans though. Because when Tariqa did that live stream, that he went live on Instagram, he
he did say it right.
Hmm.
When they play these roles, they don't connect to us.
Right. Because they
He
didn't,
said,
because they don't know the experience of.
no, you don't.
That's like having
You
us
don't.
play someone who's from over there, like a British person. Even if I was an actor, I don't know if I wanted to take that part, because to me it wouldn't feel authentic. And see, actors, they had the opportunity to say no.
Right.
It's not like
Mm-hmm.
they give them these roles and says you have to play them and everything like that. They give
Exactly.
you the option to
Mm-hmm.
get to say no. That's why they say we're offering you the role. They're not saying you're going to play this role.
Right. And I like it when he said that when Denzel played Malcolm, he embodied the spirit of Malcolm. And I say, yes, he really did.
Hmm.
And then at the same time, everybody who played historical figures, they played them very well. Like Chadwick Boseman, he played James Brown. He
Yeah.
played the hell out of James Brown.
Hmm.
He played the spirit of James Brown.
He
Again,
played
let's say no black
James
person playing
Brown,
James
Jackie
Brown.
Robinson, Thurgood Marshall.
James
You
Robinson.
know what? When it came to
Yep.
Thurgood Marshall, I probably would have preferred someone else to play Thurgood Marshall, just because of the
Yeah.
appearance of Thurgood Marshall. Because Thurgood Marshall was a lighter skinned black man. So
Yeah.
I would have probably preferred someone else to have played him. He could have played him very well.
Yeah.
For all I
Yeah.
know, I didn't watch.
I mean,
I
would
didn't
have
watch.
preferred,
I
I
didn't
would
watch the
prefer
Thurgood
someone
Marshall
lighter
movie.
skin to play Thurgood Marshall, but I was fine with Chadwick.
Right. But he is a good actor though. So someone had made a joke and said that that Chadwick Boseman is the Black History actor, because he seems
Yeah,
to
he
be
is.
because he's playing a lot of iconic black male
Iconic
figures.
black folks, black male figures, yeah. And that's why a lot of people are going to see how he's going to do well playing a famous black person who was a samurai.
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah, he is playing that part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is playing that part. That's
Yeah.
good. Now that should be
And then when he
interesting.
played, yeah, it should. And when he played Black Panther, I mean, people didn't have an issue with that. Because I know it would have been somebody like, somebody from Africa who played it, but they chose who they wanted to choose.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, it was
Yeah.
good. It was good speaking with you. I need to get to some more of these calls.
All right, man.
All right, but it was good talking to you.
All right, you too.
All right, you back.
Yeah, you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can hear you better now. You know what? Actually, it was my fault why they couldn't hear you. I didn't have the speaker turned on. That was my fault.
Oh,
That's what it was.
okay.
That's what it was. So that's my that's my bad. Okay.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah, about the all three topics that you brought up, I agree with all of them pretty much because, well, for the first one, the black British actress and stuff,
Mhm.
I believe that. I mean, I grew up. Well, I wouldn't say partly in the UK. I went to college, to university in the UK, so I was there. I lived out there for like 4 years, and I would say the attitude of the women out there is it's a little surprising that this lady would come out and say something condescending to
Right.
African Americans. It doesn't necessarily reflect the overall attitude of the your average black British female, unless they have certain views. So even amongst black people, they're kind of like seen as cool and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Or ass kissers. So she seems to be that type, definitely. And also, I would say that, like for African Americans, like, don't let this slide. Like make this popular. Like make this a trending thing. Make a hashtag out of it.
They already have. They made a hashtag. They said hashtag boycott Harriet.
Oh, boycott. Well, that's the thing. Like, I wouldn't
Hashtag
necessarily boycott
ADOS doesn't need glasses because
just
we
for the
have
simple fact that it
2020.
has already been done.
You understand me? I would have boycotted if they were still casting, for example,
Hmm.
you know. But I'm also saying don't boycott fact, simple fact that it is a historical piece on Harriet Tubman. And the thing is, you never know how it's going to turn out. It might turn out not too great, and then somebody might pick it up and redo it and make it better, right? So I would just say that for that simple fact, there's a historical piece about Harriet Tubman. Don't boycott it. However, the issue of black American actors being overlooked, and them going all the way over to the UK to get talent for an American movie, that should there should be more light shone on that,
Hmm.
definitely. Because there has to be like the people should come together and really highlight that. And for the other one was it ASAP Rocky, I believe.
Yeah.
ASAP Rocky, yeah, ASAP Rocky did he pretty much got what he deserved. The old days, like me, I grew up in Europe, right? So
Hmm.
when I was growing up, like we looked at, you know, um, the rappers, obviously, as blacks, we looked up to them. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So when they would come over, like back in the '90s and stuff like that, they were treated like royalty. You understand me? And that's been really the history of how black musicians from America were treated in Europe. They were treated very well. You understand me? They were treated like kings out there. You understand me?
Yeah.
Because there was a very deep appreciation for their music. Now, however, I would say that the rappers kind of messed it up because they got that same treatment, but they misused it. They were doing what they wanted, and like just not to sound too long-winded, Torian. There was a time that then I was still living in Austria, right?
Yeah.
In Vienna, and DMX came out one time,
Hmm.
and and for some reason it's always the bodyguards that start shit. It's never really the artist. It's always the bodyguard because me and a couple of people that I was with, we had an issue with the bodyguard. You know what I'm saying? There
Cause
was an
yeah, cause
issue with the
yeah, cause
bodyguard.
cause a lot of them are like really overzealous and they're used to doing certain things here in the states that doesn't translate well in foreign countries.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, and so a bunch of niggas moved to they moved to him. You know what I'm saying? And DMX was looking a little intimidating.
Hmm.
And he even said he didn't know this how it goes down over here.
Right.
You know, and niggas were screaming, yelling, cussing out, saying that they gonna make sure he don't forget his trip out here. They were ready to beat him up. And the same thing happens in the UK as well. So it's like, that respect that was once there is not there anymore.
Right.
You understand? And yeah, so ASAP Rocky, well, he got what he deserved because this is not the first time that he's doing this type of bullshit overseas.
Right.
He's had issues where he's in London and he's fighting and he's yelling and he's cussing. He's like, I don't give a fuck, nigga, what's up? All of that stuff. So it finally caught up to him, you know.
Oh well.
And yeah, and I think the third one was it about Trump?
Yeah. And the comment that he made about Baltimore being infested.
Yeah, well, hey, this is somebody that said that the people that were representing the white nationalists were, remember how I said there were fine people on both sides?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, if a president is going to say that, he has called my country a shithole country.
Hmm.
I mean, what do you expect, right?
Exactly. That's why.
but
That's why.
but
That's
like what
why.
you
That's why I was mad when Victor Blackwell was up there crying. I'm like, that's not the worst that he's ever said, and it won't be the
yeah, you
last
see,
thing that he ever says. He says a lot of stuff for shock value.
yeah, one thing I don't know what it is with this Democratic Party, but I feel like they just seem to serve as a major distraction for the people, you know, to hold on to some kind of false hope. I don't know. You know, it's like they're just a puppet show at this point, man. You know, Van Jones is crying on one hand, because I know you mentioned Van Jones. On one hand, he was crying when Trump was elected, and he said, "Oh, people are wondering if they got to go back to their country." But then on the other hand, I think Trump made a speech and gave props to some family or something, and he said, "Oh, that was very presidential," you know.
Mm.
So 1 minute you're against him, next minute you're giving him props, saying that was so presidential right there and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. The Democrats are at this point, man. I think we've pretty much seen through, you know, the bullshit. You know, and you know, people are smartening up now. You know, it's not that same old same, but they still going hard to try and brainwash the masses, and it's just not working. You
Yeah.
know. We just got to see what we can do if Trump gets reelected. Because from the looks of it, looks like he is going to
Oh
be
yeah, like I said,
reelected.
he got that funding for that border wall. He's getting reelected.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
definitely
you know,
getting reelected now for sure.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that was he built his campaign off of that,
Yep.
and he followed through. You understand me? That's gonna make niggas that wanted to vote for Hillary want to vote for Trump now.
Hmm.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. They'll be like, yeah, well, if he could follow through on the wall, and he even tried to get A$AP Rocky out of Sweden, then if we talk about reparations, he might let that go through as well, and we gonna get our check.
Hmm.
Not saying that wouldn't be bad, but that would be great. You know what I'm saying? That would be beautiful. As a matter of fact, if there was some kind of guarantee that would happen, to get reparations, I would vote for him too. Fuck out of here.
Hmm.
I don't care. You can call me nigga all day. If you're going to pass that bill, we're going to get reparations. If African Americans going to get reparations for real, I'm going to vote for you. Here, I'm going to get 3 more fake IDs so I can vote for you. You understand?
Yeah, but let's be real, that ain't happening. All he worried about was that wall. He won't even get funding for them opioid individuals, and all for the most part, most of them all look like him and voted for him.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, that was wishful thinking on my part.
Exactly.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. In a beautiful world, let's say that's what I would do. But yeah, as far as that opioid thing, you said he's not getting funding for that.
I doubt he won't even declare it as a national emergency.
I don't know about that, man, because I don't know if you've caught a stream from about 2 weeks ago from Cerulean Gray when he talked about the 2019 budget. Are you aware of that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it did, and apparently it's the opioid crisis and stuff. It is a major focus, you know, to tackle that.
It is what it is. At the end of the, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I feel nothing either way. That's their, as far as I'm concerned, that's pretty much their issue. That's their problem.
No,
That's their.
no, but that's the thing, Toria, man. That is their problem. Very true. But the opportunity that can be seen here is that where they're trying to put the money towards. If they're going to put money towards drug prevention and all that stuff and opioid crisis and stuff, man, you just got to think of, okay, what I got to do if automation is going to take my job away and all that shit. What I got to do to survive? You understand me? So if I got to freaking get a certificate to be a counselor or some shit, I'm gonna do it because it's gonna be money put behind that shit. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Just to see the opportunity in that. I know it's their problem because it really affects their people. You understand me? But given that this seems to be a serious emergency and they're looking to put all this bread behind it, you know what I'm saying? We got to be on the receiving end of that. You understand me? So it's like if you're going to have the Torian Reigns Center for opioid prevention program. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get some bread, Tori. That's good, right?
I mean,
Think about it. Think about it, man. Because that's money going to you. That's money that you're gonna be controlling, man. That's what I think black folks should start thinking about, man. See where the money is going toward, and see how you can get into those areas. Because everybody else is going to do it, man. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So why not us? You know? I mean, hey, that's one reason why, for example, I'm not even looking to. I already started like this online course on cybersecurity and all that shit. You understand me? Because they looking to put ridiculous bread behind in that field. We talk about 90 billion and up, man.
But you know
You
what?
know what I'm
I actually, you know, it's interesting that you said something about creating a center or something like that to be on the receiving end of that. I would like to know, where was Palm Colors Center for black people when they were going through it? There wasn't one.
Yo, Tori, we know why there wasn't.
And I know,
We
and you
will.
know what? And I know why there won't be one as far as I'm concerned with me. They can have, listen, they have as many safe injection sites. They're giving them Narcan. If that ain't working, then I don't know what to tell them. At this point, they have those doctors out there being the drug dealers and whatnot. That, as far as I'm concerned, is on them.
Yeah, but look here, Tori. That's what I'm saying, though. You need to. The opportunity there is to get that bread. If you started a senatorian for this opioid thing, you are getting money. You understand me? I don't want to go too deep on this because I know you spend all of that shit. But just think about what you could do. You understand me? Of course, it's not going to be go to your pocket and for you spending all of that stuff. But however, imagine there were so many like you getting that kind of funding. You can have side projects that you can start. You know what I'm saying? Are you taking this down after you did this treatment?
I mean, hey, if
Hello?
you listen, if I'm like this, if you want to go and help them out, and I don't know, try to save them, even though at this point there's no saving them.
I know, Tori. That's not the point. That's not my point, man. My point is the resources that will be allocated towards your cause. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, trust me, when they listen to the stuff that I talk about as it pertains to them, they not gonna want to come to me. Trust me.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm just saying that on a general, generally. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe people like
And,
black
bes-
folks
and
that have,
besides, and besides,
degrees in
and,
psychology.
and besides,
Uh-huh.
opioids at this point is only one of their problems. We can't save them from their low birth rates.
I
So
know. Yo, Tori, I think we're missing each other here, brother. Sorry. I was just a little excited. Sorry. All I'm trying to say, my whole point here is that, see, whatever they're trying to do with opioid stuff, that's on them. You're very correct. It is their problem. But the thing is, we know now that they are looking to put resources in these areas. You understand me? We also know that a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs to the robots and the computers and stuff. So how can we as a community stay afloat? You understand me? A lot of people going to lose their job. If I'm going to lose my job, I don't want to be, homeless and broke and this and that and that. So I'm going to be like, yo, what I got to do to at least survive, right? You understand me? And how can I prepare myself for when shit really hits the fan? See, whatever they're trying to do with the programs that they're starting, it's cool, it's on them. I'm just going to be participating because I got my own agenda in mind. This is where the money's at right now, and I know I need that bread to do something on my end for my folks. You understand me?
Like I said, I'm standing firm on my square. If they want to help, if they want to do that, then that's on them. I'm not out there, and I'm not going to try and save them, no matter what.
Oh yeah. It ain't really about that. It ain't really about that. It's just about getting the resources and using some of that to further whatever you got, whatever project you got planned and you working on.
But
That
hey,
kind of thing,
look, I actually have some other callers that I have to get to.
Yeah. Let me get off. I'm sorry. I've been taking so much time. Hey, thank you so much for even giving me all this time to talk. And yeah,
All right,
take care, guys. Thanks, Tori, and peace.
all right.
Peace.
Hold on. All right. I got three.
Hello.
All right. I'm sorry. I was going. It was between calls. Like the
Hi.
calls were coming in one behind the other, and I was trying to get to yours. All right. Who am I speaking with?
You're speaking to Stephanie Dews. How are
Hey,
you?
how are you?
I'm fine yourself. I'm in love with your show and I just want you to keep it up. I just gotta keep telling you that because you are on the right path.
All right. Thank you.
And you're very welcome. And I wanted to address a few of the topics that was discussed earlier.
Mhm.
Now, first and foremost, this Cynthia Erivo chick.
Mhm.
I'm not going to watch the movie. I'm not going to support her
Mhm.
because she does not understand all of the sacrifices that all of these black actors and actresses made to for her to get to where she is today.
Mhm.
Okay, and a lot of these people had to play butlers, maids.
Mhm.
Some of them played janitors. And some of them were well established actors and actresses. And for her to even come out and say anything like that, that's just like the ultimate disrespect towards the black actors and actresses of today.
Right.
Okay, because a lot of these Nollywoods and Bollywoods and all these other woods, they're nothing compared to Hollywood. Hollywood is a multi-billion-dollar industry,
Right.
and we alone generate in the billions every year. We support these movies and we support this, and these are the things that they do to us constantly on a regular basis.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like I'm really not feeling her for what she said, and her little so-called friend that like to call us cicadas and all this other stuff. And
Mm.
those are, and I say a dog call another dog a dog. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, the next thing is with Donald Trump.
Right.
Okay, Donald Trump cut out 3.1 million families of SNAP assistance programs, and the sad thing is that it's going to affect more of the people that really need it than the people that actually don't. Because if you really look at it, they really don't have the system organized the way it's supposed to be organized. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to affect 3.1 million families, which they said is going to save them $2.5 billion annually. So if it saves them $2.5 billion annually, then all of a sudden you come up with $2.5 billion to address fixing this war.
Right.
So and that was my whole thing right there. When I seen that, I said, wait a minute. So they just cut all these families just to save $2.5 billion so they can build this wall, and that was the politics behind that also. You know, and boy, I forgot what else I was going to address, but that's pretty much it.
Okay.
You know, but I just wanted to tell you thank you, and I just wanted to. Oh, when you get a chance, right?
Uh-huh.
There's a video that needs to go viral. Okay, it's about this Jewish man throwing up in this black lady's face. She was at one of those Jewish weddings or a bar mitzvah or something like that, and he just threw right
Are
up in
you
her
talking
face.
about the one it was overseas?
In Belgium, yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
had heard about that, but I was trying to debate whether or not I was going to talk about because that was so disgusting. I saw the video for that, and that
You
was
did,
that was probably that was worse than spitting on someone.
I'm telling you, I think I would have went to jail that night. I mean, that would have been the time that I would have had to go to jail. I would have been more than glad to go to jail because I would have scared his ass to death.
Yeah, like he would be erased from the planet, like for real. He would have got the Thanos snap. Okay.
What? Boo! Remember Boo from Dragon Ball Z? He would have got one of those too. I would have obliterated him. I'm dead serious. But anyway, you take care of yourself. You have a good evening, okay?
All right. All right, it was somebody who was calling me from a 26 I think it was a 267 area code. They were calling like crazy. Hopefully they still around and they can call back before I cut this off. All right, let's see who this is. All right, I have a 901 area code. Who am I speaking with?
Anthony, man, what's going on?
What's going on?
Man, I want to talk about a couple things. First off, the Cynthia, what's her, Rebo, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is, I need to watch the movie. Continue with the hashtag. Hashtag don't watch Terry. I don't even care about it. I will say this also that I worked with a lot of folks from Africa, Nigerians, Kenyans, folks from Sierra Leone, and Ghana. And man, it is now. There's a few dudes and females out there from Africa that they about that action.
Right.
But most of them, man, they kowtow and bow down to white people. They really do. And it's bad. And they'll do it in front of you and act like something wrong with you when you like disagree with something that's going on. And they just feel that because they're in Africa and there's a majority that they actually run their countries, but the white corporations and white government that take their resources run them, and they don't understand that. We understand it because they're doing that to us now, and we're the minority as well, so we can't help but see it. But they're blinded by the fact, so they feel like, okay, well, since I'm coming from a majority black country or continent, I'm better than you guys because I actually know my generation, my lineage is. You guys are just a bunch of old slaves, just the old slaves. So that's something within them. Now, other groups, they know. Other Africans, they know because they can actually see it. They use common sense. They don't want to use common sense, and that's on them because guess what? When it's all said and done, they're gonna have to come back to us for help. Hopefully, they went on the BS, and we will allow them to join our ranks. But if not, we're gonna ride without them.
Right.
Also, with Donald Trump, this palm-colored lizard always has been who he is. So I'm not surprised that this palm-colored lizard with stolen cat hair on his head is acting the way he acts. What pisses me off is Victor Blackwell.
Yeah.
Crying like, and I don't want to cuss, but crying like a little B-I-C-T, you know what, on purpose. He trying to do the Don Lemon. I guess he want to be the next Don Lemon. I guess he want to go on prostrate himself, you know what I'm saying, and get that lead role or whatever, or get in Don Lemon's spot. That's all I can say.
Right.
It's fake, it's cowardly, and it disappointed me a little bit because about a couple of months ago, he was kind of on code, on air, but it probably was by mistake. Comments about talking about reparations and all that. But I guess they took him in that dark room and said, "Look here, boy, you told the line to do what we tell you." And he's like, "Yes, sir, boss. Yes, sir." And he started crying like that black dude that was a baller intervention. You know the
Oh my
that
God.
crime. So also, what was the next one?
ASAP
I know we
Rocky.
talked about Trump. We talked about ASAP Rocky. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like ASAP Ferg better as a rapper because he just made better songs, the sharper ranks and all this stuff
Mhm.
on a new level. I'm just being honest. I knew something was wrong with ASAP Rocky, but when he was on MTV, hugged up and kissing Kathy Griffin on the neck.
Ew. Are you sure?
Yeah,
Are you
I'm
sure? Are
telling
you
you.
sure he didn't get a bum bump after that?
Yeah, he probably already had one to begin with. He looked like that type of dude. He looked dirty. I'm just being real. You know, and I was like, ugh, this dude, man, I'm like, this Kathy Griffin. I mean, I deal with black women exclusively. I'm not gonna act like I've never been with a white woman before in the past, but they were probably like years ago in a majority white city when I was working in Austin, Texas.
Mhm.
So I kind of dealt with it. But if it was a supermodel, I would like, okay, yeah. But he chose D-list actress with Kathy Griffin. This woman looked like Carrot Top.
Yeah,
So I
Kathy.
wasn't
Yeah,
surprised when he said,
Kathy Griffin has a career of oogly, like literally through her entire career, like her entire being.
yeah, she has never looked. And there was one time when she lost a lot of weight and got in great shape. And, you know, her body, for their standards, was up to par. But that face didn't go anywhere. And you only get older. You know how they do. They age like milk, whereas we age like wine. And I'm just being real. And also, to go back to the Donald Trump thing, Elijah, what's his name, Elijah Cummings?
Yeah.
I want people to remember when Alton Sterling died and Philando Castile died, he was the one that wanted to do the, along with the other, like, Congressional Black Caucus and Nancy Pelosi and all
Or
them,
as I
when they
call them,
wanted
the
to do a
Congressional Black
straight to gun
Circus.
deal. Uh-huh.
I call them the
Yeah,
Congressional
they
Black
wanted to do
Circus.
it. The Congressional Black Chumps, all that stuff. All of them worked. And they were the ones that wanted to do that big old sit-in where they were going to go on a hunger strike and they were going to sit on Capitol Hill. And when black people would tell them, what y'all going to do about this? Oh, you guys could come with us. You can stop. You can stand with us and have this new gun bill. And at that time, Black America was charged up. They're like, a gun bill to get rid of guns? I'm getting my gun. What are you talking about? So that just lets you know what he is. And most of those politicians, they start out to get elected maybe dozens of years ago on the right path. But once they start getting that money and they're not getting it for themselves and they allowing like government agencies and political think tanks, white political think tanks to give them money, they don't care because they know a political action committee could put $1 million in their coffers. That way I could actually finance my whole family as long as I toe the line and I got a guaranteed retirement on top of my I think like 150 million, 170 something, $5 million job that I can keep for as long as I'm alive if I play my cards right. And even if I get out, I could be a lobbyist and actually make millions. They're like, man, look. And see, that's what irritates me too. When we look at the size of Congress, it's no more than 1,000 people. And we allow them to move the needle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what we're doing right now is powerful because just by ignoring them, they're falling apart. All we got to do is click up and build together.
Right.
And we'll be strong. And I think a lot of us is building compared to our past couple generations because I just see it. I see a lot of people in the, I guess, Generation X, 40 and under,
Mm-hmm.
actually are more, have a mind to build because guess what? We don't have any choice to.
Yeah.
And the children of these guys, us, that are Generation X, that are black in America, ADOS, Foundation of Black America, are actually focused on having them building. So it looks good for us. We just have to ignore the BS, ignore the propaganda, starve them out because, you know, like you say on your on a lot of your streams and your videos, 2047 or 2049, whatever. It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like the Game of Thrones TV show. Winter is coming. Winter is coming for them, and they can't stop it. And that's what's driving them crazy. Also, I wanted to talk about what the dude, the brother before the young lady just called. And I'm just gonna tell you the truth. There was a time where I was incarcerated for dealing with the distribution of illegalities. You know, talking like T.I. now. But what he's talking about, a lot of those dudes that are locked up right now, black, whatever, just period, a lot of them can get probation if they go to rehab. And if you live in a majority black city, you can actually choose the people who go there. Because when I was in there, and I wasn't in there for a long time, but I was in there long enough to meet people who was on the waiting list. That's why a lot of these jails are overcrowded, because they actually have basically funding programs that allow these people to have halfway housing. So my advice to that brother who wants to do it, instead of Torian doing it, you do it. You go to your county land bank, buy one of these broken down old houses that probably used to be abandoned itself. If you get your credit right, get some funding or whatever, rebuild that house, turn it into like a rooming house, and that rooming house is your rehab house. And if you want to get brothers out of jail, sisters out of jail, because a lot of people that are in jail, even if they are selling, they still doing some type of drug. So they will make them, even if it's marijuana, they would make them do a rehab program to either shorten their time or like lessen the load of their probation or whatever they call it. So that's just something he should do want to think about. You get one of these houses, slap some paint on it, make sure the plumbing right, it's up to code, and he could get money from that. But I understand what you were saying too, that you don't want to give the palm color people any advantage, because guess what? They didn't give us any advantage.
Right.
I appreciate it, man.
All right. All right, whoever was calling on that 267 number, please call back, and I'm gonna only answer that one because they've been calling like crazy. So whoever was calling from that 267 area code, call back, and that's probably gonna be the last call that I take. All right, 267.
I'll bring you up, phone. Hey,
Hey.
that was me calling.
Yeah, like I'm like finally got you in because you was you was calling my phone like crazy.
Yeah,
like when I was looking down at the phone, it kept like buzzing and everything like that. She was like, "I'm probably never gonna get in."
Yeah, I was calling like crazy because I was in the comment. I was talking about the movie, and I was in a comment, and I was just disagreeing. And one of your mods put me in time out and called me a troll, and I'm like, "How am I a troll?"
All right, y'all. She's not a troll.
Yeah, I'm not a troll.
She's not a troll.
Yeah, how I feel about the movie with Harriet Tubman, I understand the actress that's playing Harriet Tubman says some stuff about Americans and stuff like that, and I get it. And the reason why I just don't feel no type of way about it, because I've been around a lot of Africans. I've been around, Jamaicans, Haitians, whatever. I even went to school with a lot of Africans. And really, it's like we both talk about each other. We both are ignorant to each other's lifestyles. They think one way, we think one way, and it's just crazy. So it's like, at this point, it's like, I'm like, okay. But the thing is, I was like,
you can go ahead.
Yeah, but the thing is like, this is the thing. I was like, it still seemed like it's a good movie. I seen the trailer. I was like, oh, it seemed like a good movie. I would love to watch it, and Harriet Tubman, her story is great. Like, she took, she got all the slaves together. Nobody was left behind.
I think
she'd rather kill somebody if they was, she'd rather to kill somebody, to keep everybody together. I think her story is great.
Well, I think the
And I'm
thing.
like,
Well, I think the thing
excuse
is
me, I'm
that
sorry. I'm like, if you want to, if you want to watch it, watch it. But the people that don't want to watch it, I get it.
yeah, I think
I get it
I
fully.
think what it all boils down to is the fact that those comments that she made about ADOS people, she did that before taking this role, or maybe knowing that she was going to take this role. That's why she scrubbed her accounts of those tweets, because she was getting ready to play this iconic character, this iconic, well, not character, this iconic person that a lot of
Uh
people
huh.
hold in very high esteem, that was born in America, and she has no, I guess you can say, ties to outside of her getting a script and getting into that character and getting into that role. And a lot of people felt some type of way about that, because it's like you're talking about people that most likely could be her descendants. So they felt some type of way about that, and then her to turn right around and to accept that role, knowing what she said, is like, it's like a huge, it's like a issue right there. But like you said, if people are going to go see it, or they want to go see it, I can't stop them. I can't go out and start a roadblock and say I'm forbidding you from going to see this movie. At the end of the day, that's your choice. You're grown. You can go and do whatever you want. Me personally, I'm not gonna go spend my money to go see it. Now, should I watch it?
Yeah.
I'll watch it on my Fire Stick. I have Fire Stick. I don't have to pay for it, and I can watch it then and create my own assessment. But as far as me actually going out there to actually go and see the movie and pay my money to go watch it, I will not watch it. And you know what's so crazy is because a lot of the people that had so much vitriol for Nate Parker and Birth of a Nation back in 2016 are literally the same ones that are championing this to go see this after this woman said what she said. So it's like the hypocrisy is very blatantly real,
Right.
and Nate Parker is ADOS and she is not.
Right. Oh, I get it. And being on YouTube, that's what you see. A lot of hypocrisy. That's all you see on here. I mean, here on here. So, and another thing I said in the comment is, I said, and I'm, like you said you'll see it on a Fire Stick. You're still watching it. You're still watching it. So to me, if I don't want to watch something, I just won't watch it. Period. But I was like, you got the YouTube content creators. They'll tell you, don't watch this, don't watch that, and then they will watch it, and then they'll do a review about it, and then being as though that let's say I didn't watch it, but I might hear this person reviews, and they making money off of that anyway.
But see, here's
From
the
the
thing.
content, from this,
But see, here's the thing,
so
though.
that's what I'm saying. It's like it's crazy.
But see, here's the thing, though. Like I said, if I watch it on my Fire Stick, I didn't give them any money. I didn't go and spend money to pay for it. I practically watched
But
it
a lot
on a
of people don't go
bootleg.
to the movies nowadays.
Huh?
A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't
You
go to
you're
the
right
movies
about that.
nowadays.
You're right about that, because Fire Stick, Netflix, these different streaming services. You're right, and stuff that stuff is high. So like
And how about this?
I can
She
definitely
already
understand it.
made her money.
Because
They already
let's be real
paid
here.
her.
Because let's be real here. The last time black people went out in droves to go see a movie was Black Panther,
Right.
and that was
Right.
over
And
a year ago.
I didn't see. I didn't see Black Panther because that's not really. I'm not into the comic book type thing,
Mhm.
so I really didn't see it because that's just not for me. And then I tried to watch it on Netflix and I just keep falling asleep. But that's all I wanted to call in and say,
Oh, okay.
or whatever. Y'all have a good one,
All right.
and so if y'all want to see the movie, go ahead. You don't. Hey, it is what it is.
Okay.
Y'all have a good one.
All right. And that was my last call right there. But like I said, if you want to go see the movie, you can go right on ahead and go see it. But like I said, you won't be getting a review out of me for that film. Whether, even if I choose to watch it when it's available in a clear quality on my Fire Stick. But that's just me. But I'm about to go ahead and end this stream. I've been on for almost 2 hours, pretty much 2 hours. Shout out to everybody that was in the chat. Shout out to the people who contributed to, you know, the PayPal or the super chat. Shout out to the people who called in. I'm glad that y'all were engaged with this discussion. I'm glad the notifications worked. This is probably the highest my viewer count has been on this channel in quite some time as far as a live stream goes. Stay tuned for the 9 o'clock upload. It's going to be a very good topic. And with that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your Sunday and have a productive week. And I will talk to you all in the next one.